hired me, but they did. They took a risk with me and I quit. You know how bad that feels. But I doubled down on SEO and I knew this is the way to go. And looking back, it's now 2021. That was like over 10 years ago. I would say it's one of the best things I've ever decided on and I've ever doubled down on. Any advice when writing metadata? Metadata is all about being found in the search results, and your listing would have the metadata, the title tag, the meta description, and that's it. My advice when writing metadata is making sure that you get clicked. That's it. Making sure you get clicked, which means that your metadata spoke to the target user. Made sure that when I say spoke to the target user, it spoke their language. It was saying what they wanted to hear. It was saying what they wanted to find. When you're not saying things that people want to find, they will not look at you. They will not click at you. They will not listen. When your metadata speaks what they want to hear, then they'll click on your search engine listing. Then that's metadata that is well written, that is good, and that is recommended. How can link building help my website? Well, link building it's an integral part of SEO. You have to build links, or you can earn links from other websites because you're doing something spectacular, something different, or you're a thought leader, you're an authority in that field. And link building helps you by ranking better that way. It is like a vote of recommendation from another website to your website, much like how I would recommend a good dentist to you if you're having a toothache. And I do have a dental client in SEO, and I'd refer you to them, right? It might not be because you know who my dentist is, but I referred them to you because I know who they are and you trust me. That's the power of referral. That's also the power of links online. All right, next question. What would you say are the most important factors to making a successful website? Most important factors would be, first thing that I look at, because I'm an SEO guy, would be, is the code SEO friendly? If the code is not SEO friendly, you're building it wrong. And it's much like how an architect, an engineer would build your house, where if the materials used, the cement is cheap, the wood is cheap, the steel is too thin for the support, the paint is cheap, so it chips off easy when rain and heat comes. It's like that when you're building a website. You have to make sure that the coding is done right and done well. If it's not, you're going to have a website that's flimsy and it's not going to rank and not going to be able to compete well on the search rankings. And search rankings is very, very important. Majority of your traffic should come from search traffic because those are people already looking for your product and service. So I'd say one of the most important factors would be the code. Second would be the site speed, which is also, code has a lot to do with site speed as well. Did you code it right? Are you using a CDN? Are you using caching, gzip? All of these things that increase the site speed is very important. A lot of it has to do with code server or serving the content from specific points or areas in the world or servers in the world. There's just so many. There's so many. Site security is also very important, making sure your website is secure. You don't have malware inside. You have SSL or HTTPS. Oh my gosh. UI, UX. There's so many things that are very, very important factors to making a successful website. And I could go on and explain it here and be technical about it, but I would rather not. You could do your homework. There's over 200 publicly known factors for ranking in Google. Following those things would make for a really good website already. So I hope that helps. Again, that's 200 publicly known ranking factors by Google. You could go look for it online and you'll find it. So study that. Definitely that's going to make for a fantastic website. From Vian, how do I go all in with what I've started? When you go all in, that means you're sure. You're doubling down on what you have. That means, for example, with me, that's when I resigned from HP and finally just went full-time doing SEO hacker. Because I was so sure that SEO was going to be big because I was an avid user of Google before. I keep searching. I'm a very curious guy. How I learn stuff is by searching for it in Google and learning it on my own. That's how I learned SEO on my own. That's how I experimented on the ranking factors. That's how I put up my first blog. That's how I learned to do certain kinds of coding. That's how I learned to edit some plugins and so on. And curiosity. Google serves curiosity. Google serves desire. How can it go wrong? How can it not grow? So I doubled down on SEO because I saw how powerful Google is. In fact, today there are people asking Google, where can I find God? How do I get a love life? Stuff that you usually ask your parents or a close friend, you know? So, given that thought, which is not that, when you think about it, it's pretty sad that people are asking Google that. But that shows you how powerful Google is. And that showed me how powerful SEO can be. And so during 2009, 2010, no one knew what SEO was, but I was doubling down on it. I quit my job, which was my only job. And I was very fortunate to have that job because I failed 28 units in college. I didn't know why they hired me, but they did. They took a risk with me and I quit. You know how bad that feels. But I doubled down on SEO and I knew this is the way to go. And looking back, it's now 2021. That was like over 10 years ago. I would say it's one of the best things I've ever decided on and I've ever doubled down on. And building the brand SEO Hacker up to this point, this, I believe, is the time for me to finally see how the seeds I planted is growing. Because now I could see how many people are just saying SEO. If you need SEO Hacker. And I don't even know some of these people, but they keep referring SEO Hacker to people who are looking for SEO, which is great. And I love them. And I'm going to be forever grateful to these people referring SEO Hacker to all of these clients that also I don't know. But that's the power of word of mouth. That's the power of doubling down on what you believe in. That's the power of branding. Invest in good branding. Make sure you do business ethically with integrity. You take care of your clients. Go extra mile for them. They'll love you. They will share who you are to the rest of the world who need your stuff as well. Who do you follow on Twitter, email, newsletters for SEO updates? Search Engine Land, SEO Roundtable, Barry Schwartz, Rand Fishkin's ideas sometimes are still really good, but right now he's just knee deep in Spark.io, which is a social media tool now that he's founded. I also followed, oh man, I have a lot of people I follow on Twitter. Definitely SEO by the Sea. You could also follow, that's for Google Patents. SEO by the Sea might get a little bit technical there, but SEO is technical. Google is technical. So if you want to learn their patents, how they're applying for patents that protect their technology, it's SEO by the Sea. You also have, oh man, there's a lot. There's a huge number of stuff you can follow. Definitely Google's blog. You could check that out once in a while. That's also important. So those are some. Cyrus Shepard as well. Dr. Peters, good to follow as well. There's so many. There's just so many. Yeah, I could go on and on. I've read, followed, and heeded the advice of a lot of people on social media and blogs, and I hope that helps.
Oh hey, and since you're here, can you do me a favor? Can you hit on the subscribe button and hit the bell button and select all notifications so that whenever we have a new video, you're going to be the first one to know. Until then, keep leading.
It's hard for an entrepreneur to always have someone telling him or her what to do. And I'm the type of entrepreneur where I like being on the helm. I like being on the helm.